Hello there. Welcome back to Grade Corp Mathematical Literacy. In this video, I want to look at a common March 2019, and we have a common test from the province of KwaZulu-Natal. So, going to our requirements in terms of instructions and information, we are only concerned about information one according to this video. That reads, this question paper consists of 4 questions. Answer all that you have to answer all questions, and then if you go down, you see that what is also important for you is to round off all final answers approximately according to the given context, unless stated otherwise. So also very important according to this video. So we have instruction number 7. So with that, we can also we can move on to the first question that we have, which is of question 1. Question 1 reads, Tom likes chocolate mouse. His wife refers to the recipe below to make the chocolate mouse for him. Study the recipe below and answer the question that follows. So we are given the chocolate mouse recipe, whereby you are given the ingredients, you're given the method. You just need to browse through before you answer the questions. And very important in terms of information, just given just below the table, whereby we got preparation time 10 minutes, and then cooking time 5 minutes. And then savings, we've got 6. Then on the first part of our question, 1.1.1, determine the total time in hours to prepare and cook the chocolate mouse. So this is the first question that we have, which is total time that is needed to prepare and cook the chocolate mouse. So we can refer back to information that we are given. So with the information given, you would see that the preparation time is 10 minutes, and then the cooking time is 5 minutes. And we are being asked about the preparation time and the cooking time. So obviously, we're going to say 10 minutes, and then we get our 5 minutes, and then obviously, you're going to get your answer is 15 minutes. So basically, we can present that in our other section whereby we are saying 1.1. It's 15 minutes that we have. 15 minutes, of which obviously we calculated by saying our 10, our 10 minutes plus our 5 minutes. So basically, that's what we got the first part of our question. Then we move on to the second part, which is say convert the weight of dark chocolate to kilograms. So we need to find out about the weight of dark chocolate according to information that we are given. So we see that dark chocolate we are given it here is 200 grams dark chocolate, and we know that one kg is close to 1,000 grams. 1,000 grams. So if you convert grams to kilograms, we are supposed to divide it by 1,000. So on the other section, we are going to say then I would see that the final answer that you're supposed to get now is 0.2. After you've divided 200 divided by 1,000, then you get your 0.2. So moving on to the next part, which is now our 1.1.3. So 1.1.3 is write down the ratio of caster sugar to brandy in simplest form. So we can just try to first identify the caster sugar, then we identify the brandy. So basically, let's try to see according to information given. So if that caster sugar is given here is 60, so basically we are saying 60 is to the brandy. We say that we are given it here as 30. So we have 60 is to 30, and then we present a ratio in that form. So basically, we are saying for the answer section, so we have 60 milliliters is to 30 milliliters. So obviously, we find any number that can that is divisible without leaving any remainder into 30 and 60. So you see that we have 30. So it becomes here it becomes 2:1. So this becomes our ratio. So basically that's what we have. So I'm moving on to the next part of our question. So the next part of our question is saying determine the number of grams of grated chocolate that will be added to folded whipped cream. So determine the number of grams of grated chocolate that will be added to folded whipped cream. So we look at that proportion as we are given. We see that if you come to this point, it reads fold in whipped cream, uh, fold in whipped cream and add 2/3 of grated dark chocolate. So exactly that's the information that we are looking for. So we have 2/3 of grated dark chocolate. So we see the proportion that we have of dark chocolate, we are given it here is 50 grams. So obviously we are going to say 2/3 of 50 is going to be our calculation. So you come in here, you say 1 point. So we are looking for number of grams, whereby we are going to say is equal to 2/3, and then we multiply by 50. So if you simplify it further, you'd see that you're going to get it as 33.33. Obviously, this is two decimal places. If you round it off to two decimal places, you get it as 33.33 grams. So basically, that's what we have 1.1.4. Moving on to the next part, which is now 1.1.5. So 1.1.5, if Tom's wife started making the mouse of at 11:55, at what time will it be ready for eating? So we check in terms of the number of uh, hours or minutes required for it to be ready for eating. So if you come here, you'd see that according to information given, if you come at the last point, we can just refer to the last point here. It reads, spoon the mixture into 6 bowls, sprinkle the remaining grated chocolate, and chill in the fridge for 2 hours. So we have 2 hours that are required, and also have 10 minutes, then you've got 5 minutes. So basically, all in all, you are going to see that time needed is going to be 2 hours, 2 hours, and then you add your 10 minutes, and then you add your 5 minutes, which is going to lead us to 2 hours, 15 minutes. So basically, this is what we have. So we are going to add 2 hours, 15 minutes to 11:55. Let's see what time do we get. So we're going to say whereby we have 11:55. We have 11:55. And then we add 2 hours, 50 minutes. And to see what actually do we get. So 5 plus 5 obviously is going to lead us to 10, and then we get 10 to get 1. And then we say 1 plus 1, 2. And then obviously, if we add there, you see that the answer that we are going to get is 70. You are going to get an answer of 70 here. And then here is going to be 13 on the hours part. So we have got 30 to 70. So obviously, out of 70, we get another hour that we can add to 30 to become 14. If you remove 60 minutes out of 70, we make 1 hour and add it to 13, it becomes 40. And 70 minus 70 minus 60 minutes that we take it becomes 10. So we've got 14:10. So this is going to be the finishing time. So that's what we are saying.
Finishing time is supposed to be 1410. So 1410 is going to be the finishing time. So moving on to the next question that we have, which is now on 1.2. It is Tom and his friend John are the homeowners who stay in Lady Smith. Tom uses a prepaid electricity meter and John uses a postpaid electricity meter. The charges per kilowatt hour for postpaid and prepaid meters are shown below. Use the information above, table 1 and table 2, to answer the questions that follow. So you are given table 1, and then also you are given table 2, which you need just to browse through. Then on the first question, it reads, John and his family consumed 100 kilowatts in July 2017. Calculate the total, including VAT, that John will pay. So basically, we know that John, according to the instruction given, is that John uses postpaid. So it means if he uses postpaid, we have postpaid here. So we are going to use this, and kilowatts consumed. We see that we have 100 kilowatts consumed. So from there, we can try to see 100 kilowatts according to information given. We're told that basic charge is 100 rands. We have a basic charge being 100 rands, so basically it's going to be 100 rands, and then we add 100 kilowatts. We see that 100 kilowatts falls in this range. 0 to 350. 100 is falls in the range 0 to 350. So we're going to use the rate 1 rand, 1.3280 rand per kilowatt, and then we multiply by 100. So basically here we say brackets 100, and then we multiply by 1.3280. So basically that's how we are going to present it in your answer section, whereby we come here. Let's see, 1.2.1, we are saying over 100 rands, and then we add 100 kilowatts, and then we multiply by 1 point, multiply by 1 point, we try to refer back to the 1.3280. So if you multiply there, if you multiply an 8, you see that the answer that you're supposed to get, so obviously this is going to be 100 rands. Sorry, this is going to be 100 kilowatts, so we can as well try to correct that. And this is now your rands. So if you multiply it there, the answer that you're supposed to get becomes 232 rands, 232 rands 80 cents. 232 rands 80 cents. So we can basically this becomes your answer. Then from there, remember our question is saying, we refer back to our question. The question is saying, including VAT, and we know that VAT is 15%. Charge per kilowatt is excluding VAT. The amount that we are given is excluding VAT, but VAT is 15%. So, but the charge that we are given is excluded. So it means we have to calculate the 15% inside the total amount that we got there. So with Fairbex now we are saying now is equal to our 232.80 cents, and then we add the VAT amount, which is 15%, and then we say 15% is 0.15 as a decimal, and then we multiply by 232 rands 80 cents. So basically that's what we have. So if you simplify it further, you are going to see that the total amount that you are supposed to get there becomes 267 rands 72 cents. Obviously, this is to two decimal places. So basically, this is what we the total, including VAT. So moving on to the next question. So our next question becomes 1.2.2. Tom and his family consumed 100 kilowatts in July 2017. Calculate the total amount, including VAT, that Tom will pay. So if you refer back, you'd see that according to instruction given, we were told that Tom uses a prepaid electricity. Tom uses a prepaid electricity. So if you refer down, you'd see that prepaid, we are given it at the table 2. Table 2 is prepaid. So, but we are told that Tom uses 100 kilowatts. So 100 kilowatt obviously is here, it's in the range 0. It's in the range 0 to 100. So we are going to use at the rate 1.0965, which is also excluding. But if you look here, we do not have basic charge like what we did on a postpaid, whereby we had a basic charge. Here, there is no basic charge, so we're just going to say the number of kilowatts and then multiply by 1.0965. So we just do a search whereby now we are saying 1.2.2, 1.2.2, whereby we are saying total amount is equal to 100 kilowatts, 100 kilowatts, and then we multiply by the rate that we are given, which is 1.0965. So then if you calculate, you see that you're going to get your answer is 109.65 cents. So this is what we have on that part. But we know that the amount that we are given, it's excluding, but the question needs us to include VAT. So you're just supposed to add our 15%, whereby we are saying including VAT now, it's equal to 109.65 cents, and then we add in brackets, we multiply with the 15%, whereby we say 15% times 109.65 cents, then get your VAT amount. So you do that, you see that you're going to get your answer is 126 rands 10 cents. So this becomes the final answer. So basically, this is what we have on this part. Then moving on to the next question. Let's calculate the difference in John's and Tom's total amounts. So very simple. 1.2.3, whereby we are saying the greater amount is 267.72 cents. So here we are saying 267 726 rands at 10 cents. So we calculate the difference. You see that the answer that we are supposed to get becomes 141 rand 62 cents. So this becomes a difference. And this becomes the last question that we have on question 1. So we can move on to the next part, which is now going to be question 2. We're moving on to our question 2. Our question 2 reads, Miss and Miss Dube accompany their daughter to the University of Pretoria to further their studies. The Dube family lives in Dundee. On their way, they pass the e-tolls. After 3 weeks from the date of their journey, they received the account statement from Sunrail. The statement is shown in Annex A in the addendum.
use the above information and in Annexure A to answer the following questions. So you are given the questions and then you refer to Annexure A, whereby we have our Annexure A. So we can just refer to our Annexure A. So to that, this is going to be the Annexure that we are going to take note of as we answer the question. So the first question reads, give the operating times for Sandra or co-sender. Give the operating time. So we refer to the annexure, but if you check, this is our annexure that you can just try to browse through before you answer the question. And then we have a continuation of that annexure as we are having the continuation of the annexure. So our first question needs us to identify operating times. So obviously that is information that is given at the beginning of the annexure. So let's just refer back and see. And you see that we have each mentioned, let's try to see. We have it mentioned here as 6 a.m. To 10 p.m. So we have that, and then we can just refer back in terms of our question. And we are saying it's 2.1.1, and we have identified 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. So moving on to the second question, write the operating times for Sunrow call center in a 24-hour format. So basically we are referring back again and convert 6 a.m. to 24-hour format and then 10 p.m. to also to 24-hour format. So we are saying 2.1.2, whereby 6 a.m. becomes 0600, and then our 10 p.m. obviously we are supposed to add 12 hours because it's after 12. So we are saying 4 plus 10, and obviously you will get your 22. So here we are saying 0600 to 2200 hours. So basically that's what we have, and we can try to present it in the form as we put our hours. So basically this is what we have. And then we go to the next part of our question, which is 2.1.2. Right at the operating, 2.1.3, according to the statement, how many days did the agent take? So we try to refer back again to our annexure and see the days taken. So we are given that period is 14/01/2019 to 14/01/2019. So basically, we are going to say 1 day, which is 2.1.3. Then moving on to the next part, according to the statement, how many days did the agent take? We identified it as 1 day. Then 2.1.4 show how the VAT amount of 8 Rand 43 cents was calculated. So let's try to see how 8 Rand 43 was calculated as we refer to the next year. So we have 8 Rand 43 here. But obviously, the figure that we are given there now is VAT inclusive. Remember, the formula that we get is our VAT exclusive plus the VAT amount will give you the VAT inclusive. So what we are saying is VAT exclusive plus VAT amount will give you the VAT inclusive amount. So obviously, to get your VAT amount, we should say percentage, which is 15%, times the VAT exclusive. That's how you get your 8 Rand 43. So basically now, what we are, firstly, we have to find the VAT exclusive, and then we say 15% of VAT exclusive, and then we get your 8 Rand 43. So basically, we are saying, remember, the representation in terms of percentages is that VAT, the VAT exclusive is this one. VAT exclusive is always 100%, and then we add the VAT amount, which is 15%, giving the VAT inclusive of 115%. 115%. So to get the VAT exclusive, we are now saying a simple proportion whereby it's 150. If you check, we have got the amount that we have there. It's going to be 150 is equivalent to 64 rand 62. So basically, we are saying 115 is 64 rand 62 cents. So the figure that we are looking for is 100. So obviously, 100 becomes uh, a question mark. So to calculate the VAT exclusive, we're not saying 100, what we don't have over what we have, which is 150, and multiply by 64 and 62 cents. And then we get the VAT exclusive, whereby it gives you 56 rand 19 cents. So this is the VAT exclusive. So if you say 50% of 56 rand 19 cents, you're supposed to get your 8 rand 43. So basically, that's how we are going to summarize it now. Here, as we say, 2.1.4, whereby you start by finding the amount excluding VAT. So we are saying amount excluding VAT. Basically, we say to summarize the working 64 rand 62, and then we divide by 1.15. And then with that, you get your 56 rand 19 cents. So now to get your amount of VAT, it becomes now 15% of 56 rand 19 cents. So it now becomes 15%, which is 15 over 100, and then multiplied by 56 rand 19 cents. So basically, this is what we have, and then we calculate it as it is, and then you see that if you calculate it now, that's when you are supposed to get your 8 rand 43 cents. This is the figure that we are trying to prove. So this is the answer that we have 2.1.4, and then we move on to the next part, which is going to be 2.1.5, which is saying first part, how much is the discount amount payable by 0403 2019? So we check again according to the annex here that we are given. So if you come to the next year, you see that we are given discounted amount payable for this invoice by 0403 2019, which is 32 rand 31 cents. So basically, this is the amount that we are looking for. So this becomes our 2.1.5a, whereby we are saying discount amount becomes 32 rand 31 cents. So maybe that now we try to move on to the next question that we have, which is now B, which is saying what percentage of the total amount due is the discounted amount. So we refer back to the annex here again, and we have identified it as 32 rand 31 cents, and the amount due we are given it here is 64 rand 62 cents. So basically, the percentage now becomes 32 rand 31 cents over 64 rand 62 cents. That's something over. Then we find the percentage whereby we are saying the B part now is going to be 32 rand 31 cents. And then we divide by 64 rand 62. And then we multiply by 100 over 1. You see that the answer that we are supposed to get now becomes 50%. So this is what we have in terms of our B part. Then you go to 2.1.6,
which is saying how long in minutes and seconds did the Dube family take to drive from Misfe Ito, Misfo Ito Grange to Kiwit Toll Grange. So we want to calculate the number of minutes and seconds. So we can just try to refer again to our dictionary and see where we can get that information. So if we go here, we'll see that that's where we are. So according to the information given, would want to see is from sphere Ito, so we can just start by identifying that one. We are here, and we see that the time that we have. So at the time that is indicated is here. So we can see that is from newspaper, and then we go to keyword. So we can easily calculate there by saying 07. We can start by 072310. 072310. So if we refer back to our calculations, we are going to say 072310, and then obviously we are supposed to subtract for keyword it's then for MSFA is 0714 29. 29. So from there we can now be able to find whereby if you subtract here we would 10 minus 29, which we can take 1 minute from 23 minutes, and then this one becomes 22. 23 minus 1 it gives us 22, and then the 60 seconds that we've taken from 23 from as a 1 minute here. Remember, 1 minute is equals to 60 seconds, and the 6 seconds are to be added to 10 to become 70. So we are now saying 70 minus 29. 70 minus 29, and you see that the answer that you are supposed to get becomes 41. So this is 41 seconds, and then we try to say in minutes. 22 minus 14. 22 minus 14, you're going to get your 8. So basically, you've got 8 minutes. Remember, these are hours, these are minutes, these are seconds. So 7 minus 7 will become 0. So we are left with your answer is now equal to 8 minutes 41, 41 seconds. So basically, this is what we have. So I'm moving on to the next part of our question, which is now going to be 1.7. Starling and Waving charge the same tariff. Give one pair of toll points which charge the same tariff. So we are given that Starling and Waving are the same charge. So which other pair is going the same charge is the question. So we go again, try to see where do we have, and we see that our column for charges we are having it here. We are having it in this column, so we can see where we have the same charges. We are seeing that we see that our next year is continuing. So we've got 2.34. We have seen that we've got 2.34 here for ox packer. So if you move up again, you see that we've got also 2.34 for Musfe. So this becomes another pair that we can also mention, whereby we are saying 2.1.7 we've identified so basically this is what we have in terms of that one. Then moving on to the next question that we have. You see that this becomes the last question that we have on 2.1. So we move on to our 2.2. Mr. Dube earns a monthly basic salary of 28,550 rands, 75 cents. He is 64 years old, and the pension fund contribution is 7.5% of the basic salary. An adapted text table for 2018 to 2019 is shown below. Use the information above in table 3 to answer the questions that follow. So on our first question, it's calculate Mr. Dube's annual basic salary. So according to the information given, let's see how we can calculate the annual basic salary. So if you refer at the beginning of the question, it reads Mr. Dube earns a monthly basic salary of 28,550 rand 75 cents. So this is the monthly basic salary. So if you refer to a question back again, it needs annual basic salary. So we can as well take note of that. So for annual now, we are annual, remember it refers to 12 months. So we multiply 12 times the monthly, which is 20,550 rand 75 cents. So that's how we are going to present it. Whereby you're having our 2.1, whereby you say annual basic salary is equal to so basically this is the annual basic salary. So moving on to the next question is saying calculate Mr. Dube's annual taxable income. Annual taxable income, and we know that our taxable income, first of all, we have to subtract the pension fund. So we see that our pension fund, we are given it here in the beginning, where it is the pension fund contribution is 7.5%. So we can just take note of that of the decimal that we gave, because the question needs us to calculate annual taxable income. So we just refer to the figure that we got there. And now we are saying 2.2, whereby we say 342,609 SD. This is the annual basic salary. Then we subtract the pension fund, which is 7.5% of the basic, which is again 342,609. So we can as well try to calculate it from that point to see that the final answer that we are supposed to get is 16,930 rands 33 cents. So this becomes your final answer. So moving on to the next part, which is now going to be our 2.2.3. Give the meaning and the minimum and maximum amounts between which Mr. Dube's annual taxable income fall. So we have identified that it is 316,913. So we can just refer there. So 316, we see that is here in this range that we have 316,000. So whereby we have got 305, 851 to 423,300. So we have just identified the minimum and the maximum. So the minimum becomes 305,851, and then the maximum 423,300. So that's how we are going to present such. We'll go to 2.3, whereby we're saying minimum. The maximum we have identified is 423,300. So this is what we have on that part. And then we move on to the next part where it's saying define the term tax rebate. And basically, tax rebate is a relief given to taxpayers. That's the definition of a tax rebate. Relief given to taxpayers. So we can as well present it as such. Whereby we say a tax rebate. So basically, that's what we have in terms of a tax rebate. And then we move on to the next part, which is 2.2.5. If an employee earns an annual taxable income of 305,850, calculate how much is above the taxable income. Calculate how much is above the taxable income. So we are going to refer to the lower, which is the minimum of that band, of which we have got 305,850. 305,850. Obviously, it's here where we've got 305,851 to 423. So it's just below this, so it comes to 305,850. So we subtract the lower part, whereby we subtract with 195,851 minus 1. So basically, we are saying on our calculation, the figure that we have is 305,850. Then we subtract the minimum in that bed, which is 195,851 minus 1. Okay, and then we subtract 1 on the minimum, and then we calculate it like that. See that the answer that you are supposed to get becomes 110. So this becomes the calculation that way. So basically, this is the last question that we have in terms of our question 2. Obviously, the next question that we have is going to be our question 3. So question 3 reads, Denio, a great co learner, wants to start nursing at the University of KwaZulu-Natal next year. Denio decides to be proactive and plans to save 5,000 rands to cover her registration fee to start nursing. She decides to make her own donuts and sell the donuts in the local market once a month. The donuts cost 1 rand 60 cents. It costs 1 rand 60 cents each to make. She will sell the donuts for 5 rand each. The local market also charges 340 rands to hire a store for the day. Table 4 below represents Denio's income and expenses. So the equations for income and total expenses are given below. So you're given the equation for income, and also you're given the total expenses equation. Then table 4 shows Denio's income and expenses. So given the table, beneath that now, it is calculate A, the income received for selling $1,000. So A requires us the income for selling $1,000, but we are given the formula for income. We're saying 5 rand times number of dollars, of which for A, number of dollars is 1,000. So we are going to just calculate it as such, whereby we're saying 3.1.1. We are seeing that we're saying 5 rand times 1,000. So you are going to get your answer as 5,000 rands. Then moving on to the next part, it's now saying calculate B, the total expenses for making and selling $200. So we need the expenses, and we know that the expenses formula is here, 340 plus 160 times number of dollars, of which number of dollars is 200. So we just substitute 200 into number of dollars, then get the total expenses. So coming here now, it's now 3.1.2, whereby we are saying 340 runs here. Then we add 160 times 200. And then you're going to get your answer as 660 rands. So that becomes your final answer. Then move on to the next question, 3.1.3. Calculate the profit made on $750. Show all calculations. We may use the formula income minus total expenses. So $750, we are saying this is where we are. So we have our income is 3,750. And obviously, for our total expenses, we are given it as 1,540. So we can try to calculate it from that point. So let's just try to. So in our calculation, we are saying 3.1.3. Whereby we say our 3,750 runs. And then we subtract the figure that we have for expenses, which is 1,540. You're going to get your answer is 1,210. So this is the calculation that we have. So moving on to the next part, it reads, complete the graph on the answer sheet to represent Denios expenses. So remember, in Denios expenses, we can just try to refer whereby the expenses is in this row. So obviously, we are going to match them with the number of donors. So we come up with a curve whereby obviously we are going to be concerned by these 2 points whereby we got $0 having 340 rands as our total expenses, and then we also have $1,000 reproducing 1,940 rands as our total expenses. So these are the 2 points that we are just going to take note on the graph. So if you refer to our graph, you see that this is going to be our graph. So we can just take notes as we present our graph. So the 2 points that we have identified that we are going to take notes is 0,340 and then we have also 1,940. So let's just take note as we check in terms of obviously number of donors we're having them on the horizontal axis, and then we have got our amount in rands on the vertical axis. So the amount is, so we're saying number is on this part, and then the amount on this part. So let's start with the 0,340, whereby we have our 0 here, and then we check in terms of what we have there so that we can be able to present our 340. So approximately we are going to have our, according to the representation of the lines that we horizontal lines that we have between 0 and 100, we are going to see that we've got 10 there. So obviously we are going to count that where we have put 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. So we are going to have our 100 here, 200 somewhere here,
and then we've got 300, and this is going to be 300 ends. We have identified it as 300 and 340. So which is going to lead us to a point which is here. So checking on 1000, and then we have 1000, and then we've got 1940. We again refer to where we have got our 1000 donors, which is going to be here, and 1000, and we cross-check it 1940, whereby if you go to your vertical axis, we've got 1500, which means 1940 is almost to our 2000. So we just try to see where we have our 2000 is being represented. 1940, we see that it's almost here, almost 2000, which is somewhere here. So we can just see that our horizontal lines are not very visible. So we are supposed to have our 10 lines are between our 2000s, our 1500 and our 2000, so that when we go to 1940, it will be between 1500 and 2000, and just below our 2000, which is uh, uh, in this area, so that we can be able to come up with our cap. So we can join the 2 points. So basically, this is what we have in terms of the 2 coordinates that we have just identified. So joining the 2 points now to come up with expenditure curve, it has to be. So this becomes our total expenses cap. So we are just going to give a label of total expenses. So if you refer back to the question, I'd say that the question only needs us to represent continuous expenses, of which we have done that. So we go to the next question, which is saying verify by calculation if at break-even point, the new will cover the registration fee. How many donors the new must sell to cover the registration fee of 5,000 and to make a profit? So obviously, we need to come up with a formula that is going to lead us to our answer. So we can see that our 3.1.5 is in 2 parts, whereby the first part leads us to verify by calculation if at break-even point the new will cover the registration fee. At the break-even point, we know that our total expenses break-even point is when our total expenses are equal to our total income. So if you go to our graph, you see that we have that at the point of intersection of 2 caps, which is here, where our total income is this 45-degree line, where it intersects our total expense cap is at $100. So see that this is the point that we have the break-even point. So you see that it's $100. Genio can only raise 100 times 5 rand per donut. If you refer back to our question, you'd see that we have each donut having a value of 5 rand. So if you say 5 rand times 100, you are going to get 500 rand, which is not going to be enough to cover the registration, which is 5,000. So on our other section, we are just going to summarize it as such, whereby you are now on 1.5. Let's say the break-even point is equal to $100. Then the revenue
revenue will be equal to 100 times 5 rand, which is going to give you your 500 rands. So basically, this is what we have. And then having done that now, you can now compare it with the 5,000, which is needed for registration fee, and you see that according to the question, we just refer to the question and see what question requires. Question said verify by calculation in break-even point the new cover registration. So we say no, with break-even point the new will not cover the registration. So we are saying therefore no, at break-even point the new will not cover registration. So basically that's our conclusion. Then the second part of our question now is saying how many donors the new must sell to cover the registration fee of 5,000 rands and make a profit. So obviously we need to see how many donors must be sold so that there is a profit of at least 5,000 rands. So basically that's how we are going to calculate it. So we are going to say 5,000 income minus total expenses will give you 5,000. And then we can obviously add just one donor to top so that there is a profit that is made. So basically we are on our answer section, we are saying total income minus total expenses will give you 5,000 is how we are going to calculate it. And then our income now, you remember income is 5 times number of donors. So we are coming here and we are saying 5 rand times number of donors. We can just leave it as number. Then subtract total expenses, whereby total expenses we are given as a formula of 340 plus plus 160 times number of donors. Which is again number, a little bit like that. And from there, we can now be able to match like terms whereby it becomes 5 rand times number on this part, but here it can become, we remove this the brackets inside, it becomes 340. That's plus 160 times number, whereby we can factor out number both from this side and this side, whereby it can be, when we factor it out, it becomes our number of donors, which is represented by number. Brackets, we have our 5 rand minus 340 rands, and then it's also have minus 160. So basically, as we calculate it like that, so basically that's how we are going to calculate it. And then if you calculate it further, we can see how we are going to get it. Remember, all what we are calculating is equal to, should be equal to 5,000. So we can just maybe remove this calculation so that we make it simpler by saying our, if we remove the brackets, it becomes 5 rand times the number, and then we subtract here 340 negative times 340 rands, it becomes 340 rands, and then obviously here negative terms 160 times a number, it becomes a negative 160 times number. So we can as well try to match it like this, and then it becomes equal to your 5,000. So from there, we can now be able to take negative 340 rounds to the other side, and it becomes 500 times number. And then here it's minus 160 times number. And then 340 plus 5,000 becomes 5,340. So basically, this is what we have. Then from there, we can now say 5 rand minus 1 rand 60. 5 rand minus 1 rand 60 and see what we get. Let's just try to calculate that one. And you only get it as 3 rand 40. So you can say 3 rand 40 equal to 5,340. And then obviously we divide by 340 times number. So basically on this side is number times 340. So we divide by 340 both sides. So it becomes number equal to 5,340, and then we divide it by 340. So we calculate it like that to see what we get. So if you divide, you're going to get it as a number of donuts equal to 1,570. 1,570.59, which is 0.588. So obviously, if we round it upwards so that there is at least a profit that is made, if we add 1, it becomes our number, because if you refer back to the question, it's saying how many dollars did you must sell to cover the resident fee of 5,000 rands and make a profit. So it means the dollars that we are going to round up at the number that we are going to get as our number, so that we enhance the profit that is being made. So here we see that we have 1,570.5. So if you round it up, becomes a number equal to 1,571. So you got 1,571 dollars. Obviously, this is what we have on that part. So this becomes our answer, and then we try to go to the next question that we have, which is going to be now our 3.2. The South African national budget highlights the revenue, income, and consolidated spending and expenses for the year 2018 to 2019. South African national budget for the year 2018 to 2019, we are given information that we are given there. And we are given the consolidated spending, which is not very clear, but I believe that it is use the information above answer the questions that follow. First part is consolidated spending for 2018 to 2019 has not been totaled. Calculate the total amount spent by the South African government. So we are going to add consolidated spending. We add this figure plus this figure plus this one plus this one. So we add all the figures. So we start with the figure that the first figure that we are given here is 351.1 billion. So we are saying the figure that is written here is 351.1 billion. Which is 3 points. We are calculating total. So on total consolidated spending, we are saying 351.1, which is the figure that we are given here. And then next we've got 100. If you try to check the next figure that we are given is 259.4 billion. 259.4. So this is the figure that we are just going to add here. Then we add the next figure that we have, it's 405.4. Then next figure that we have is 200.8. Then from there we move on to 200.1. Then the next one is 196.3. Then the next one is 194.2. Then we check the last one is 64.0. So this one is 64.0. So basically, if we add there, you see that the total that you're supposed to keep now is 1,671.3. And you see that our figure are presented in billions. So you can just take note of that. We try to refer to the next question, which is saying, verify using calculation that the national budget is a deficit balance. So a deficit obviously is a negative balance. So what we have just calculated is consolidated spending, and then we compare it with the total the tax revenue, which is 1,344.8 here. So we say this 1,344.8 minus the total that we got on consolidated spending. So on our calculation, we are saying 3.2.2, and we are saying 1,344.8, and then we subtract this figure that we are given, that we got there, 1,671, which will give you an answer of negative 326. So obviously we are presenting our figures in rands, and then this one is negative 326.5 billion. So this negative represents that it's a deficit. So that's how we've proven that. And then try to move on to the next question. Analyze the budget and make a recommendation as to how to reduce the consolidated spending to improve the country's finances. So obviously, on reducing the consolidated spending, you can maybe try to reduce or remove one of the components of the consolidated spending. So we can just say maybe reduction of social development, reduction in terms of the other consolidated spending is 194.2 billion. So basically, that's how you can respond to that. So 3.2.4 is the amount of 205.4 billion spent on health sufficient to justify funds. So health is a critical area, as we know. So obviously, the amount has to be increased by all possible means. So, but if you look at the amount that we have for health is 205, and it's having a greater proportion of consolidated spending. Uh, so we just maybe try to refer back to the requirements of question. Is the amount of spent on health sufficient? Just where spent on health sufficient? Just for your answer. So we can say it is, yes, it is sufficient because it consists of a greater proportion. It consists of a greater proportion of the total consolidated spending. So that's how we can answer to that. That's how we can answer to that is our 3.2.4. So our answer is yes, because it constitutes a greater proportion of the total consolidated spending. So that's the response that we have on 3.2.4. So that is what we have on question 3. And according to our question paper, we are now left with our question 4. So moving on to our question 4. Our question 4 is the survey conducted by the Statistics South Africa indicates the number of individuals who belong to a medical aid scheme. So we give a table 6, whereby numbers in thousands covered by a medical aid scheme from 2002 to 2017. So you can just browse through the table that we are given, and we can just try to zoom it out. So you see that this is the table that we have that you just need to understand. And this we've got 2002 to 2017. So information given in terms of number covered by medical aid scheme, number not covered by a medical aid scheme, subtotal, percentage covered by a medical scheme, do not know, and specified, and then we've got total population. So beneath that now, beneath that reads, use the information above to answer the question that follow. 4.1.1 write the 2017 total population in words. So 2017, you see that we have 2017 here, and our figure that we are given for total population for 2017 is 56,522. So this is the one that we're supposed to convert to words. So going to another section, we are just going to present it in words, whereby we have 4.1.1. And we are saying the figure that we have is 56,522. So we are going to say 56 according to figures given again. Let's just try to refer back. The numbers are in thousands. So we take note, numbers are in thousands. So it means we are going to add 3 zeros in front. In other words, we are going to say the number that we have there, and then we add 3 zeros. So it becomes 56 million. So exactly, this is how we are supposed to present it in words: 56,522,000. So that is what we got that part. Then we move on to the second question. Show by calculation how the total population of 50,850 was calculated. 50,850, we see that we have it in this column. So we are going to add starting from subtotal. Remember, subtotal is a number covered by medical aid scheme plus number covered by number not covered by a medical aid scheme, then we get the subtotal. So as we are seeing, we are just going to start by adding from 50,573. And then we are supposed to add This is a percentage. We can take note 17.7 is a 17.7 is a percentage given by percentage covered by medical aid scheme. So we're going to say 50,573 plus 23 plus 254. Then we get 80,000. Then we get 50,850. So we are saying 1.2, and we are calculating total. Total population, whereby we are going to say 50,000. About 73. So you are going to get your 50,850, which is the figure that we are verifying. So that is what we have 4.1.2. So we move on to the next question, which is now 4.1.3. Describe the trend in the number not covered by medical aid scheme. Give a reason for this trend. So number not covered by medical aid scheme, we can see that it's here in this row. And we try to see what's happening in that row. We've got 13,445 to 39,765. And you see that the figures are increasing. Up to 2017, they are all increasing. So basically, we refer to the question. This question is saying describe the trend. So there is an increase. That is what is the gradual increase that we are seeing. And we are giving a reason for this. And you see that this is number not covered by the medical scheme. So obviously it's becoming more expensive to join the medical aid scheme. Maybe that's the reason, as we are seeing more people are not being covered by medical aid scheme. So it means they are not affording the medical aid scheme. That's the basic. So that's how we are going to describe it. So on our description, here we are going to just say corporate 1.3 by saying number of people are gradually increasing as the years increase. And the reason why we are having that is it's because it's no longer affordable. It's becoming more expensive for join the medical aid. It is becoming more expensive to join medical aid, so that is the reason. So we go and see in terms of the next question that we have. So our next question says, calculate the mean and median number of people from 2010 to 2017 covered by medical aid scheme. Determine which measure of central attendance provides the best representation of the data. So we can start by calculating the mean from 2010 to 2017. Of number of people covered by medical aid scheme. So we come here, covered, we have it here. Try to see what mean 2010 to 2017, remember? So we are starting from 2010, it's here, and 2017, it's here. So we are saying 8,967 plus 8,312 plus 9,157 plus 9,608 plus 9,470 plus 9,307 plus 9,447 plus 9,475. So then we get the total from 2020 to 2017. Then we divide by the number of figures that we have, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, between 2020 and 2017. So we divide by 8. So that's how we're going to calculate it, under section, and then we just present it as such. So we have 4.1.4. So we are starting with the mean, whereby we are saying and the total that we get, we divide by 8. And you see that the final answer that we're supposed to get is 9,217.875. So this becomes your mean. Then the median again, already we have got 8 figures that we have. So first of all, we have to arrange our figures in ascending order, whereby we are starting with the lowest figure that we have to the highest figure. So according to the figures that we have, we see that the lowest figure. So the first step is to arrange your figures in ascending order. So the lowest figure that we have according to the 8 figures that we have here is 8,312. And then from there, we go to the next one, which is 8,967, which is this one. Then from there, we check again, 9,157. Then from there, we check 9,307. And then from 9,307, we've got 9,447. Then 9,470. And then we put the 9,475. Then we put 9,608, which is this one, which is the last one. Then after we've arranged in ascending order, you now look at the middle figure. Remember the middle figure, we've got 8 figures that we have. So if you divide by 2, you're going to see that you get your 4, which is an even number. So the number of figures that we have is an even number. So it means that the fourth and the one or in front of the fourth, which is the fifth, the fourth and the fifth, we add them, and then we divide to get the average. So here we've got number 1, 2, 3, 4. We have got 9,307, and then we add 9,147. Then the answer that we get to divide by 2. So then you get your median is. So let's just try to calculate that one. Then you get 9,377. So this becomes the median. So this is what we have. And then the question obviously is asking which one is the best measure of central tendency. as it say, determine which measure of central tendency provides the best representation of the data. Obviously, the mean is the one which represents the best representation of the data because it takes into account all the values. Remember, we are adding all the values as our numerator, and then we divide by the number of figures. So the mean becomes our response on 4.1.4. Then we go to the next part, which is going to be 4.2. The graph below shows the percentage of individuals who are members of medical aid schemes by metropolitan area for 2017. So you are given the metropolitan. You just need to, you see that we've got the city of Cape Town going down to Buffalo City. So according to our question saying, if approximately 3.7 million people live in eThekwini, determine the number of people who belong to a medical aid scheme in eThekwini. So we see that the proportions, we are given percentages. So these figures that we are given this side, they are percentages. So for eThekwini, we are given it as 19.6. So they are saying if in eThekwini we have got 3.7 million people, so determine the number of people who belong to a medical aid scheme. So we're going to say 19.6% of 3.7 million. So we just make that calculation, whereby now we are looking at 4.2.1, whereby we say 19.6 million, 19.6%, then 3,700,000. So we calculate it like that. We see that the figure that we're going to get now becomes 725,200. So we can as well try to see in terms of that calculation. So moving on to the next question that we have, which is saying the mean for the given set of data above is 23.6%. Determine the value of X, the percentage of individuals who are members of medical aid scheme in Mangaung. So in Mangaung, we are given it as X. So we need to find it, but we are given the mean as 23.6. So it means if we add all the percentage that we have here on this side, and we divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we divide by 8, you are going to get your answer as you're going to get your answer as 23.6. So we just do a search. So we say on our calculation, our mean is 23.6%. So we say 23.6% is equal to, we add all what we have and we divide by 8. So we're going to say, according to information given, 29.2 plus 29.1 plus 24.5 plus 23.7 plus 21.7 plus X plus 19.6 plus 19.4. And then we divide by 8. So basically, that's how we are going to present it. Whereby we're going to say 29.2, we add 29.1. So we have our eight figures, and then we divide by 8. And from there, we can now be able to say 23.6 equal to, and if you add on the numerator, if you try to add on the numerator, you're going to get it as 167.2. And then we add your x over 8. Then from there, you can multiply by 8 both sides, whereby you say 8 times 23.6. You're going to get it as 188.8 equal to 167.2 plus x. Then you make x in terms of the formula, it becomes x equal to 188 minus 188.8 minus 167.2. And then you're going to get your answer is 21.6. So this is going to be 21.6%. So this becomes your response in terms of 2.3 points. This is going to be your response for 2.3.6. So remember, the question needed us to calculate x, being the percentage of individuals who are members of medical aid schemes in Malgaon. So we have identified it to be 21.6%. So basically, that's what we have on that one. Then we move on to the last part of our question, which is now saying, give a valid reason why do the city of Cape Town in Tshwane have the higher percentage of people who belong to a medical aid scheme. So we try to go back there. City of Cape Town and Tshwane are the one with the highest number of people who belong to the medical aid scheme. So what can be the reason? Obviously, the reason can be because of a higher population in those areas. So if there's a higher population in those areas, obviously there is um, a greater probability that we have also more people that are going to join the medical aid scheme. So basically that can be the basic reason that we can give. So we are saying 4.2.3, 4.2.3. We could say larger area, larger areas which are more populated. And also having so this is going to be the reason that you can give that we are going to, there are larger areas which are more populated and also having more employed people. So this part is also important because for you to join the medical aid, you should be someone who is employed. So you can have a larger population, but when the people are not employed, they will not be able to join the medical aid. So basically, this is the reason that we can give according to 4.2.3, and this becomes the last question that we have according to this question paper. And thank you for listening. And please, let's not forget to subscribe and share to our channel. Let's not forget to share the link to our colleagues who are doing mathematical literacy grade 12. Let's stay tuned for more videos to come. More typical examination questions will be uploaded on this channel. So let's stay tuned. Let's subscribe. Let's get notified. Let's meet again in the next video.